I love that pattern is this eternal thing. It repeats, it continues. That's where I'm trying to bring God into it. There is order, there is structure, there is something greater. We have these spiritual experiences that give us hope that there is a purpose behind this. For this part, it's really easy because I just know I need lines. But I like just cutting them without measuring it out. Makes it feel like it really did come from nature. Which in this case, using these giant palm leaves, it did. So I want the viewer to feel that. I grew up in the desert. Apple Valley, it definitely wasn't like a cultural epicenter by any stretch of the imagination. We only had one art class in my high school, but I was lucky that I had parents who were very encouraging. So by the time I was applying for schools, I knew I wanted to be an artist, but I had no idea what I was going to create. There we go. There's something so intimidating about blank canvas. So I found myself gravitating towards a lot of media where you weren't starting from nothing. I became interested in printmaking, and what I loved about printmaking is it was kind of deceptive. You would look at a print and you didn't realize that all these hours of work went into it, and I love things that took a lot of time for me. This leaf is actually really fragile, I've learned. And so it's good to have it layered on top of something else because if it's out there by itself, it breaks really easily. When I turned 21, I decided to go on a mission. Those 18 months in Spain where I was called completely changed the trajectory of my art. In Granada, we had a day to relax and we decided to go to the Alhambra. The Alhambra, from the floor up to the ceiling, everywhere you look, it is covered in pattern. Walking through its amazing hallways was just this transcendental experience because you're just surrounded by what these humans accomplished, worshiping God through intricate pattern. You feel the devotion of it, and that was just all done by hand. I knew what I wanted to achieve in my art. I wanted to achieve that kind of magnificence of what a dedicated and devoted hand could do and accomplish. All right. This is where it gets really, really delicate and tricky, is getting these tiny, tiny pieces on. But this is the part I love most because I love tiny details, especially when it comes to pattern. After my mission, I saw Donna Ruff was an artist I follow, and she was doing these paper cuts into newspapers. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what I want to try and make next. Paper cutting captures on a really small scale the feeling I had in the Alhambra. I just like working with my hands and having it be that kind of time-intensive process. And paper cutting is something that I can do. I can't make a palace, but I could make these really intricate paper cuts. And this just completely caught my attention. God comes through my art through the pattern. I associate pattern with devotion. With my art, pattern is this manifestation of order and structure in this life. There is structure, there is purpose, there is plan. This isn't just random events being thrown together. Life is more than that. In all the chaos of our lives, I always had paper cutting. I couldn't imagine creating another way. Sure enough, your body starts slowing down. And suddenly life felt really fragile. I love all the wildflowers here in Utah. They give me so much inspiration. These ones right here are so beautiful. Such interesting texture. I can just picture them silhouetted, making all these cool shapes. But even though these ones are kind of like eye stoppers, they get your attention right away. I love looking around and trying to notice maybe the ones that don't stand out as much. For me, this is what it's all about. On a beautiful morning like today, feeling like you're 1,000 miles away from the world and everything going on there and whatever chaos is happening in my life. And just having a moment in what God has created for us, what I see as signs of His love for us. There is so much depth behind the physical world we see in front of us. And my goal is for my art to resemble the beautiful world we live in and to be the reflection of who we are. We are half part of this earth, we are a part of nature, and then half eternal being. And they're all connected and meshed together, and I'm trying to capture what our souls feel like. Around 2020, I felt like I was reaching a really high level with my paper cutting. I felt like there weren't very many things I couldn't cut. I was starting to get pain inside my neck. It just kind of kept getting a little bit worse and a little bit worse. When I was working, I would always be trying to relax my jaw. Then it started just escalating and it turned into headaches. The pain from my neck and shoulders was gravitating up into my head. Half of the week I have a headache. That's half my life like that. I'm in pain and being grumpier with my children and grumpier with the people around me because I'm in pain. And that was really scary to think about. Wait, what I'm doing with art might affect the kind of mother I am and the kind of person I am through everything that happened in my life. No matter what change came, no matter how drastic or hard, I was always holding so tightly to doing art. I decided I would stop paper cutting. We did 6 weeks of physical therapy, and I did get to a point where I started feeling better and I wasn't having the headaches. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. I sat down to go cut paper thinking I was totally cured, and immediately, 20 minutes into cutting, headache is right back. And then the headache the next day. After that happened, I was like, I'm not going to paper cut anymore. This is it. And then came months of deep dread of like, what am I gonna do? What is gonna be the next thing? And my brain had become so focused on paper cutting that I had forgotten how to make art any other way. I was missing out of this huge, fulfilling part of my process, which was using my hands to create, to get that Alhambra feeling that I desired so much. Suddenly, it just hit me. What if I switched from paper cutting to making art completely made out of plants? This is how I can use my hands to make the pattern, but I don't have to be cutting. I ordered a bunch of dried plants, and I was grieving the fact that I used to know exactly what to do, and here I was at ground zero. But the comforting thing is I had developed this visual language of how I wanted to express myself from the decade I had spent paper cutting. When I create the pattern in my artwork with the leaves, with the grass, with all these materials, and I start getting into those intricate details, I get the same feeling I did from paper cutting. As I've been working with the materials, I feel like they're speaking to things that I wanted to express in paper cutting, like the physical and the spiritual all coexisting together in one person, and they're doing a better job of it. That the materials are more fitting for this kind of message. There's a scripture I love that's in Job, and in it he talks about how there's hope that a tree will sprout again, and that the tender branch of the tree will not cease. Job, who was a person who went through so many afflictions, but was yet able to look beyond that and see God in all of these things. I wanted to title this piece, "The Branch Will Not Cease," as kind of this affirmation of hope that we indeed are like the tree that grows again and does not stop. There's all this pattern surrounding and creating the silhouette of a person, but in the middle is emptiness. Two hands that go across the chest, which symbolize the spirit and the unknown, the things we don't know about what comes next. I hope that's what my art can resonate with. Even though there is the wintry colors of our life, the things that die, there are always things that are reborn that take their place and create a new beginning for us. While I was creating this piece, that feeling of failure was conquered by the feeling of like, no, there are solutions and you're finding them. You thought you hit a dead end, there was actually another door to go through. God is there. He is a part of this. The strength and the grace carry you through the hard things.